Alright, so as long as I'm talking about video games, I might as well talk about this one now. And really, I played this game first and foremost because I wanted to educate myself on this lore because this is considered Star Wars canon, and also now that a sequel is coming next year. So yeah, I better play this game, and I played it, and it's really good, so let's finally talk about it. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out in 2019. It's brought to us by EA and also Respawn Entertainment. They're the minds behind Titanfall, Apex Legends. So Jedi Fallen Order takes place 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. The Empire rules over the galaxy. Our main character is named Cal Kestis. He was a young Padawan learner when Order 66 happened, so he doesn't know much about the Force or lightsaber combat. And it's been a few years since the last time he was even in touch with the Force. But now he gets caught up in a new adventure, he meets a crew, and they go on a journey that will ultimately teach Cal, hey, the Force is still lingering in you. You might just be a Jedi yet. And now we have our single-player, story-based Star Wars adventure video game, which, yeah, it is really good. First off, the characters. I really like Cal Kestis, cause he does remind me a lot of Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy. He starts off not knowing a lot about the Force, but then as the adventure goes on, he learns more and more, he becomes more of a badass. Yeah, very Luke-like. But what can I say, it just works. And I like the crew he meets. There's Seer Junda, who we learn was a Jedi back in the days of the Old Republic. So kinda like Kanan and Ezra in Star Wars Rebels, she agrees to become Cal's mentor, kinda sorta. Where it's like, is she even qualified to teach? Well, look around, there's not really much else to choose from, so you're stuck with me. And we learn her backstory later on in the game, and it's actually really awesome. I'm not going to give away too many spoilers just in case you haven't played this because it is worth playing and figuring it out for yourself. But I'm just saying, like, her backstory in particular among all the characters in this game is the most interesting. Also part of the crew is Grease. He's the captain of the ship you're hanging out on, which is called the Mantis. And more or less, he reminds me a little bit of Rocket Raccoon, where he's small, he's kind of crass. I mean, he's not as much of a dick as Rocket Raccoon is, but you know, he has that kind of Brooklyn accent, hey, I'm walking here kind of attitude. He provides a lot of comic relief, actually, in this game. And of course, I can't forget about the droid, BD-1. Cal meets BD-1 not too far into the story, and you grow instantly attached. Cause not only is this droid freaking adorable, but the bond between Cal and BD-1 is like one of the strongest points of the game. I mean, one of the most obvious reasons is the fact that BD-1 is always riding on your back, so he's with you wherever you go. Plus all the little beeps and trilling sounds that he makes as a droid are just really cute. I want a BD-1 now. So yeah, that is more or less your crew of the Mantis, and you go on your Star Wars adventure. You go to a few different planets. What I like about the story is the fact that we really do see just how big and scary the Galactic Empire is at this point in the Star Wars timeline. Stormtroopers are everywhere, they're patrolling all the planets, and there are just no Jedi to keep the peace. There's just you have a lightsaber, you don't know that many skills, at first anyway. So when you first face off against Stormtroopers, it can be tough at first. I guess I'm getting right into the gameplay and the combat. Because as a Jedi Padawan learner, you don't have like a long-range weapon. You don't have a gun, which is usually the kind of weapon I prefer to use in third-person adventure games like this. So it did take some learning for me how to use a lightsaber in combat, you know, because it's essentially a baseball bat. You're just taking it and whacking guys with it. I mean, that being said, sometimes when stormtroopers are shooting at you, you can deflect their blasts right back at them. That's really satisfying. And I also like the fact that these stormtroopers actually have some personality sometimes. You'll hear them spat out lines like, alright, it's just you and me now, Jedi. Then he'll shoot at you and you'll deflect it back and he'll die. Good stuff. Of course, it's not just stormtroopers you take on. There are different levels of Imperial baddies in this game. And I'll tell you what, when you first come across a Purge Trooper, these guys are so annoying. Because they actually fight back and you're like, well, wait a minute, well, I don't know, I'm gonna die. And I did the first couple of times I fought one. But eventually you do get used to it and you learn how to take them on. Because not only do you fight with a lightsaber, but you do have different force abilities as well. You can freeze them, or you can force push them or pull them towards you and slash them down. Which I really love to do. One of my favorite things to do is to force pull a stormtrooper towards you and then just impale him with your lightsaber. That's awesome. Because you do that and you're like, whoo, alright. That just happened. And then this being that period of time between episodes 3 and 4, we also got some Inquisitors to deal with. Most prominently, the second sister, who's actually a really important character in this game. Again, no spoilers, but yeah. She actually ended up being one of my favorite characters in the entire game. Well, her and Marin. Alright, I gotta talk about Marin. Again, no spoilers, but Dathomir is one of the planets you do visit in this game. And if you remember Dathomir from the Clone Wars, Marin here is a Night Sister. And so the whole story arc that you go through with her, to me, that's what took the story to a really, really good Star Wars story here. Because what you go through with her, I was like, I'm gonna remember that. because I just like characters like her. And as far as gameplay goes outside of combat, there's a lot of exploration involved, so you're exploring these different environments on different planets. It does remind me a lot of Tomb Raider. Whenever there's a third-person adventure in which you're traversing this complicated environment, I'm always going to think of Tomb Raider, I guess, since that was the first game of that kind I ever played. But that kind of exploration in a game just always works for me. You're climbing ledges, you're swinging from vines, and eventually you do unlock Jedi abilities that will allow you to go to places you've never been able to go to before. Like eventually you unlock that double jump that Luke does in Empire Strikes Back with Yoda on his back, and you're like, alright, sweet, now I can get to that ledge. It's really fun. And the graphics, this game looks awesome. You just look at some of these environments, you're like, holy shit, I truly am in that galaxy far, far away here. Like the very beginning of the game, you're in this shipyard, this junkyard of a planet, and you see them taking apart these huge, like, separatist ships from the prequels. That just looked really cool to me. And the game looks that good all throughout. It's awesome. Definitely one of the most immersive Star Wars games I've ever played. One thing that did let me down about this game, though, were the extras. Like, throughout the story, you unlock things like different outfits you can wear, different, like, types of lightsaber builds. And I was like, what is the point of any of this? I mean, the outfits, they're not even that good. They're ponchos. Yeah, I just stuck with the starter outfit, that vest. It looked cool enough to me. A lot cooler than any poncho will, anyway. And also, like, different lightsaber builds, I'm like, who cares? You're fighting with the lightsaber, you're not even gonna see it. I mean, a couple of different extras I did like different colors for BD-1, different colors for the Mantis. Those were fine. But other than those, I found most of the extras to be pretty pointless. I mean, you do have a databank in which you can read about all the different planets and backstory and characters. Those will fill you in on a lot of the lore. So that's pretty cool if you like to read. Also, the soundtrack. I like the soundtrack enough in the game. There's an interesting-ish theme for Cal and the crew. Although it's funny, there are a couple of points in the game where it does bring back old John Williams tracks from the movies. Like one scene in particular, I was like, I remember that music from Revenge of the Sith. That's like the exact same track. That's cool. It does make this feel more like a Star Wars adventure. But all in all, the music in this game, not bad. I didn't get the soundtrack, although I've definitely thought about it. My biggest gripe in the game is the fact that there's no fast travel. As in, when you're out exploring these different planets, you can't like just teleport back to the ship, which even in Tomb Raider you can do that. And these maps in this game, they get really elaborate. And it just haunts me to know that the further out I go, the more I'll have to go through just to get back to the Mantis. Yeah, that blows. I hope they put fast travel in the sequel, because I could really go for that. But in the end, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a really solid Star Wars video game. Like I said, it is considered canon, so if you are a Star Wars fan, if for nothing else, play it just to fill yourself in on that lore. Because yeah, not only is a sequel coming, but I mean, who knows, in whatever Disney Plus shows Lucasfilm might have coming out for Star Wars, there might be tie-ins or Easter eggs, like there was in the Book of Boba Fett. There was a BD droid in there, which I didn't realize was an Easter egg at the time. But now that I've played this game, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool. So there's another reason to play this game. All in all, solid good time. So, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Have you played it? What do you think about it? And are you looking forward to Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Now, if you'll excuse me, She-Hulk Attorney at Law is premiering tonight, so I'm gonna edit this video and then get to that. Peace!